Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Couch Brotato Podcast. We've got a great episode lined up for you guys and gals today. Our good friend Steven is joining us once again on the couch as the three of us try to come up with a top 10 list of greatest heist movies of all time. Did your movie make the cut? The only way you'll find out is if you listen to the Couch Brotato Podcast Heist Movie Hall of Fame episode right here, right now. All right, hello, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Couch Brotato Podcast, a podcast about friends shooting the shit about movies. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Adam. Adam, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. How are you, Russ?
I'm doing well, man. I think today's episode, we discussed this briefly as we concluded last week's episode. We decided to do a Hall of Fame episode, which always, for me anyways, seemed to be super fun. And you came up with the idea of doing a heist movie Hall of Fame, which I thought was just like, oh, this is going to be fucking amazing. Because like the heist movie is probably one of my favorite genres of film. I just love it. It's between, I think, the actual putting together of what the group of people are going to steal is probably my favorite part of the whole movie. It's almost like kind of like a magic trick. Seeing a magic trick get pulled off.
You're a sucker for those montages too, and they generally put a whole
montages are almost a staple of the heist movie too.
Right.
I do have a question for you before we begin. Do you think we need one more?
I think we need one more.
All right, we'll get one more. And that one more, back for his second appearance in 2 weeks. Steven is back with us this week. Steven, how you doing, man?
Doing good. It's wrapped up a great weekend. I'm super excited to do this. This was it was really challenging to come up with this list. In fact, it was like, I thought it would be a really quick thing. I thought the last time we spoke, the next day I would pretty much have my list. And then every time I would have it, I would just think of like a new movie or something that I forgot about. This was really fun to think through and put together.
Well, if I could be honest with you, I didn't sleep very well after we concluded on the last Sunday, because as I was trying to fall asleep, I always have a problem with my mind not being able to shut off. So I'm just rattling through my brain like, okay, that would be a good one. Oh, that's a good one too. Fuck, is that one that would be good enough to make my top 10? So I was up well past the time I should have been. If I can come up for an episode, like a top 10 for an episode that probably like 9 people are going to listen to. But
we have
go ahead,
Matt.
Yeah, you're right. We have like 13.
I tell my mom about it. She'll watch it. So, it's another one.
All right. Yeah. Have the family tell them about it. Tell them it could be a Christmas gift. Like, hey, just listen to this episode so we can get it up to at least 20. Maybe we'll get another like subscriber. Who knows? But yeah, we're going to do the Heist Movie Hall of Fame. As you guys and gals that have listened to this before, format's pretty simple. Each one of us will come up with a list of 10 worthy contenders to go into the Couch Brotato Podcast Heist Movie Hall of Fame wing. And from those movies that are listed, we try to come up with a definitive top 10. And that top 10 is what we will put into the Hall of Fame. So without further ado, we will begin. And Steven, since you are back for another round, first off, what was the criteria for your top 10? And let us have your top 10.
Sure, yeah. So thinking through this, biggest criteria for me, one of the top ones was rewatchability. Like, what are some heist movies that's like every time it's on TV or it's something I can just keep watching over and over again. Another thing I looked at was team dynamics, and just something that I really love with these heist movies. A lot of them are just how cool the characters are, and just everyone seems really cool. And that was one. That was another one. And then planning and execution, just how this is I don't want to give my list away yet, but how they whatever the challenge is, how they go about overcoming that challenge, and then also high stakes, just some heists that are really high stakes. Those were some of the things that I looked at to make this list. So should I just start? Should I go list all of them?
Yeah, just go ahead, just rattle them off. You can do 10 through 1 through 10, whatever tickles your fancy.
Yep. So I'll just start with number one. Favorite one would be Snatch. That was probably my, if I had to go through my list, Snatch was the top of my list of heist movies. And I know that's probably not really considered necessarily a heist movie, although I count it because at the beginning there's a heist and, it's just kind of the criminal underworld of London. So yeah, that'd be number one for me. And then as I go down the list, it would be Ocean's 11 and 12, followed by The Town, Logan Lucky, Three Kings, Baby Driver, 21, and then finally funny one, Fun with Dick and Jane.
Okay.
And that would be my top 10 list.
All right. Adam, your criteria for your list and your list.
So I had pretty similar criteria. There had to be, a planning stage in the movie. A couple of different ones that I had on my list at the beginning, I kind of had to talk myself out of, such as like Die Hard. It was already on one of our other top 10 lists.
It's actually been on two of them.
Yeah. I mean, we could put it on this one, but I don't think we want to be the people that put Die Hard on every list.
Well, you know what, though? There are worse movies to like basically just ride the coattails on. And Die Hard is, I mean, let's be real. Like Die Hard is probably, if you and I were to have a collective, a Couch Brotato Podcast top 10 favorite movies of all time, Die Hard's going to be on our list. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah. Yeah. At least top 5, if not top 3.
Mm.
Yeah. But sadly, Die Hard did not make my list. Also, I was thinking, we were talking about this after the podcast last time. Rogue One is technically a heist movie. I kind of disqualified that, though, because the other genres that encompass it are more prevalent than the actual heist itself. My kind of criteria for it was the heist had to be a big part of the plot, which it is in Rogue One, but I feel like Rogue One is like one of those things where it's a means to an end. And so my list, actually, I should have it up, and I'm woefully ill-prepared. Let's see.
Well, you know what, though? If people listen to this show, they can pretty much tell that we're usually ill-prepared to do this, so...
All right, so Ocean's 11 was my number one. It will always be my favorite heist movie. I don't think anything's going to dethrone it anytime soon. I had The Usual Suspects as number 2. Love the twist ending. If you haven't seen it, it's too bad. There might be spoilers in this podcast. I don't know. We might talk about it. Fantastic movie. Italian Job. The newer one. I like the older one. I have a soft spot in my heart for the newer one, though, because I saw it first. And then I had National Treasure. Again, it's one of those movies where it's like you have people stealing like gold. You have people stealing money. You never have somebody steal a national monument. So there you go. National Treasure.
I knew when this was coming down. Excuse me. I knew you were going to do that one.
Yeah.
You got me choked up talking about it.
It was one of those ones where it's like, do I really do that one? Because it's kind of a cheesy movie, but I still really like it.
Don't you dare sully the National Treasure name.
And it's got Nick Cage in it, so you got to have it. You got to have it on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Heat was my number 5. Really love that movie. Characters in it are fantastic. Stellar cast too. Ocean's 12 made my list because I couldn't pick between. Like sometimes I like the second one, just depending on what kind of mood I'm in, because it's more like an international espionage movie. But I like them both, so they're both on the list. Logan Lucky, because the acting in it is phenomenal. Love Daniel Craig. Love Adam Driver. Get them together and they make magic. Bandits was on my list, but I swapped it out. I really like Bandits, but it lost out to Inception. I chose Inception because it's one of those not really a once in a lifetime movie, but like one of those generational movies that, you know, defines a director a little bit. I mean, he was already you know, on a roll there for a while with the Dark Knights, but fantastic movie. Also great soundtrack. Hans Zimmer is a god. And then I had Hudson Hawk as my ninth one. This one I'm going to be arguing for. It's a terrible movie, but don't let that bother you, because it's such a bad train wreck at the end that you just can't stop watching it, and it's fantastic how much they jumped the shark. And then my 10th one I had to pick because I feel like there's a lot of deception in movies, and like you said before at the beginning of the podcast, Russ, it's like magic. It's like, oh, look over here, but you know, it's actually happening over here. Is Now You See Me. Now You See Me is a fantastic take on the heist movie. So that was my number 10.
Adam, you said that we might spoil some stuff. I'm pretty certain for the second annual Turkey Day Turkey Spectacular that we might do Hudson Hawk.
Oh man, that would be fantastic. It's probably top tier good bad movie.
Oh yeah, for sure. That was a total Bruce Willis vanity project for sure. Mine, my criteria was the same as a lot of you guys. First off, it's how, like, can you rewatch it again and again? And for me, like most of these movies, I've seen hundreds of times. Like if I catch like 10 minutes of it on TV, I'm like, I already know what's going to happen, but I still want to watch it because, you know, like whether it's the acting or the heist itself, like I'm just in. I think for me, a good heist movie too, it has to have a strong protagonist and an antagonist. Because I think that, like, as cool as the crew is, you have to have somebody just as good trying to bring them down.
Yeah.
And then the team dynamic for sure. Like with Oceans as an example, I mean, those guys look like they're just having the time of their lives doing it. And like even with Heat, I mean, like De Niro's got like a great crew set up. Even like Den of Thieves as an example. I mean, Paulo Schreiber has a pretty cool crew with him too. So yeah, I mean the team dynamic's a big plus too. And then I think sometimes the heist itself, like what they're after. Like you said, National Treasure, they're trying to steal the Declaration of Independence. And then sometimes I always get fascinated with like they're stealing bearer bonds or, you know, gold or whatever. So like I always thought that was kind of cool too. So for me, and after you guys gave your list, it kind of makes me feel really old doing mine because of some of the movies I got in mind. But I have Ocean's 11. That was pretty much a given. I think we've said it on the show before. It's probably my top 10 favorite movies of all time list. Heat. The first time we get De Niro and Pacino sharing the screen together. That alone.
Yeah.
Makes this one.
Yeah.
And plus it has probably one of the best shootout scenes of all time. The Town, Inside Man, great Denzel Washington, Spike Lee movie. I think it was like the third time those two have teamed up. Fantastic heist movie. A guilty pleasure of mine is Den of Thieves with Gerard Butler. It's kind of a Heat ripoff, but I think that's why it's so charming. I call it the Dollar Tree version of Heat. Still awesome. And they're actually making a second one, which I'm super fucking excited for. I went 70s. I went Dog Day Afternoon with Al Pacino and the great John Cazale. Went Out of Sight with Clooney and Jennifer Lopez. Fantastic movie. Soderbergh is in this a lot, so I'm almost wondering if he's not like the top of the mountain when it comes to heist movies, because he's got Ocean's 11, 12, 13, Out of Sight, and Logan Lucky.
Yeah.
And they all made our list. Number 8, I went with the remake of the Thomas Crown Affair with Pierce Brosnan. That one's really good, and I actually just watched it over Labor Day weekend. And I forgot how awesome it was. It's probably the last great John McTiernan movie, who's probably for a while there had the championship belt for like action directing. Number 9, I went Thief, one of Michael Mann's earlier movies with James Caan, where it's the jewel thief that basically is trying to get out to start a legit life, but then he gets roped into doing like one last big job. And it's one of those tropes where he kind of gets convinced to do one last job by like the wrong person.
Yeah.
And then 10, I went with Point Break, a movie premise that should not work, but it's arguably one of the greatest action movies of the 90s. And when we did the Action Movie Hall of Fame, I really wanted to put it in.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it would. I don't think it was going to fly, so I left it off. So that's my top 10.
It might make this list. Who knows?
We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think it's pretty much unanimous. The three of us have Ocean's 11, Heat, and was that it? Ocean's 11 and Heat are on all three of our lists, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Adam and I both had Ocean's 12. I didn't know if you were counting Ocean's 12 too. But.
Well, the Ocean's 11 and Heat are the unanimous.
Oh, right.
So
yeah, they're in automatically. And then let's see. The Town got 2 votes. So I think it's pretty safe to say that one gets in.
Mm-hmm.
So you're good with that, Adam? Because I know you didn't have it on your list.
Yeah, no, I'm good with that. That's fine.
Okay. The Town.
I'll read some of my movies a little bit later on.
Let's see. Ocean's 12. I was the only one that did not put that on there. You know, considering some of the other movies that are on our list, I kind of might have an issue putting it in, but we'll put it in as a strong.
Okay. If you're not feeling it, we'll argue for and against it. It's fine.
Well, I'll put it tentatively in because you guys both voted for it, but I think when you come down to it, it's if you were to have someone like, hey, tell me about your favorite Ocean's movie, like 99.9% of people are going to say 11, and I would probably say most of those people will probably not even remember 12. But
I don't know. I don't remember 13 as much, but maybe that's just my bias.
I think I've seen 13 the least. I think I've seen 13 like twice, and I always remembered it being essentially. It's kind of like a.
11.
It's really the Rise of Skywalker for the Ocean's movies. It's really like, hey, why did you take it out of Vegas? We want to see another casino get hit up. We want to see a bad guy, an evil casino owner. Let's go back to what worked, and that's what they did with this one.
Yeah.
Let's see, Logan Lucky. I think that's a strong contender. I really, really like that movie, and I didn't think that I would. I'm like, a NASCAR track. And that's a thing that I think works for it. It's the premise is they're robbing a NASCAR track.
Yeah.
It's essentially the hillbilly version of Ocean's 11. And I think that's kind of why I like it.
That's a great, yeah, it's a great way to put it.
And the fact that you guys both touched on it, I think Daniel Craig was working on Benoit Blanc when he did this movie. It's like, okay, like I can tone that Southern accent down a little bit, and I could become arguably the 21st century's greatest detective in this one. And you guys also didn't mention Channing Tatum's actually really good in that too.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I know sometimes he gets some hate because he's he's what they call a pretty boy, but I always liked his work. Let's see, and I think that's it for the ones that got at least 2 votes. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
We've got 5. 4, 3 are certain, 2 are strong, and then now we've got 5 spots to fill at least.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
Russ, I was expecting we would have more than that.
Oh, what, more unanimous ones?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I was actually expecting it to go this way. I mean, I was actually a little shocked that you didn't have a few older movies on your list.
Yeah, it was hard. I probably did and took it off. Yeah, at some point. And I think the challenge was like when I came up with the criteria, it's like looking at it through that lens of like, because there were some on there that I had that I ended up taking off because, for example, a big one, like we said, rewatchability.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some on there where I felt like, well, I've watched it. I don't need to watch it again, kind of thing.
Yeah, that was one of my biggest criteria is rewatchability. And the way that I kind of gauge that is if I see it and Russ says the same thing all the time too, is if I see it on TV and I want to watch it and then I end up watching like a certain part of it and then end up watching it all the way to the end. Yeah.
Yeah, no matter what point of the movie you come into, it could be like 20 minutes left in the movie. Like, oh, I'll just stick around and watch this.
Yeah.
I know for me, like my list, I'm willing to take off Thief because it's kind of an obscure title, but if neither one of you guys have seen it, I highly recommend it. It's pretty much near the end of like James Caan's kind of run in the 70s and early 80s. Like he had come off like Rollerball and Brian's song, The Godfather, and it's kind of like the tail end of his run, but it's really, really good. And it's got a young Jim Belushi in it.
Yeah.
Oh, does he have a comedic role or is it?
No, this is not a comedy in the least bit.
Well, I didn't know if maybe he was like relief or something.
No, it's just real early Jim Belushi, and he's
usually
Khan's like kind of point man sidekick.
Okay.
Usually, comedians are fantastic in drama. Like I don't understand it, but like usually you get a comedian in a dramatic role, they knock it out of the park.
Yeah, it's usually the thing. I think it's easier for comedians to do drama than it is the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm willing to take that one off the list. I'm pretty sure Den of Thieves is not going to make the cut because I think out of the 3 of us, I'm the only one that's seen it, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think I've seen Den of Thieves either.
I've never watched it.
Well, Adam, you're going to have to because I'm probably going to have to drag somebody to see Den of Thieves too because I know the missus is not going to see it.
If my homework is watching movies, it's not homework. You never work a day in your life if you do the thing that you love. So I'll watch Den of Thieves.
I didn't know they were making a sequel.
Oh yeah. I think it's almost done actually.
Sweet.
And that's about it. I think maybe the Thomas Crown Affair. Because, I mean, when you think about great heist movies, it's really, really good, but I wouldn't say it's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Okay.
So those would be the ones I would take off my list. I'm okay with them not making the cut right away.
I'm okay with taking Now You See Me off mine. If you guys are okay with knocking it off. I don't know. I picked it because there's some comedy in it, but also because of the angle of it being magicians. But it can get a bit cheesy at times, and it was my number 10, so I'm okay with knocking it off.
Well, like when I look at like a Hall of Fame, and especially like in taking it in the sports context, if this is the first time there's a Hall of Fame class for these, like it has to be like stand head shoulders above everything else. It has to be like
Right,
the
and I
best of
don't
the
think-
best. And I mean, like I liked
Right,
Now You See Me. I remember me and Jen, we were on vacation and we had hit up Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville during happy hour,
Nice.
and we got pretty fucking loaded to where we couldn't drive home. And there was a movie theater literally right next door. And I'm like, well, fuck it. Let's just go watch this movie. And we ended up watching it like fuck, like, I don't know if I'm drunk, but this is actually kind of a good movie. And then we watched it again like months later and like, yeah, this actually was a good movie.
Yeah. First one's good. The second one, not so much.
I didn't even bother with it. I was like, there's really no need to make a sequel to this.
No.
But yeah, like I think like a Hall of Fame, it has to be like, when you
Agreed.
think of the genre, like, okay, it may not be like, just look at it from like the Family Feud point of view. Like if you're asked this in the street for a Family Feud question, like I would name that one before Now You See Me. You know what I mean? That's why I took off like Thomas Crown Affair and like Thief. Like I seriously think out of the people that listen to the show, maybe 3 people have even heard of that movie. But you should go watch it. It's amazing.
See, that's why we do this, though, so people can hear about the movies we talk about, and then they go watch them.
Yeah. So go watch Thief. I think it's on HBO Max.
Yeah, if we're knocking stuff off, there's a few. Baby Driver is one. I chose it because I thought it was one of the things I loved about it was like how they mix part of the nuance of his character as he listens through. A good job of integrating that into the action of the movie, and I just thought that was really cool. And plus, I
adore Baby Driver.
So that'd be one, and then 21. I there was just a lot of things I liked about that movie, and I think I'm fascinated by card counting, which is cool. And also, at the end, spoiler alert, I guess maybe, but Kevin Spacey, they don't show it, but they imply that he gets the shit kicked out of him by Lawrence Fishburne, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, if only that would have happened in real life. So everything else is fair game. You're willing to argue for?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out what to lead off with first. Because I either want to go, let's do Snatch.
Yeah.
I don't really consider this a heist movie per se, but you do make a very valid point that at the beginning of the movie there is a heist.
Yeah, and it kicks off the rest of the story.
And there's, man, I don't know. Like, I love this movie, Steven, as you know. Like, I think when you have when you have your group of friends, like each one of you and your friend have like that movie that's like, that's our movie. And I think that's our movie.
No, yeah, 100%.
I can't tell you how many times we watched that. Like, Adam, little fun fact, Steve and I used to work together at a video store. And a lot of times after we would get off, we would like pick a movie and we'd go down to Steven's house and like eat junk food, smoke cigarettes, and watch movies till 3 or 4 in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sounds fantastic.
Hell yeah. That's great times.
Well,
man.
the cigarette smoking, maybe not so much now, but
yeah.
I don't know though, maybe we'll rip off a heater at some point. But I really want to put it on here. I just don't know if there's enough of a heist plan. Cause I mean, there's 2, there's the beginning where they steal the diamonds. And then there's the one where, I can't think of the other 2 guys' names, but Tyrone, the getaway driver.
Yeah.
They try to rob the bookies and it fails miserably. But the biggest plot of the movie is basically they're trying to fuck over Bricktop.
Yeah. And that's actually what I had in mind. Again, I know when you hear heist, it's stealing something, it's taking something. But yeah, I think there's elements of that. Again, the diamond at the beginning that kind of kicks the story off. And then, Tyrone and then the two pawn shop owners, and with them trying to get that as well. And again, not really a heist, but just how at the climax of the movie you realize, yeah, Bricktop, make Brad Pitt's character. They had an agreement for him to go down in the 5th round or whatever it was, and then they had come up with a whole nother plan to kind of get revenge on what had happened to them. So just that whole plan around that. And I loved how at the end they kind of put it all together in a really cool and unique way that's being narrated by Jason Statham's character. And I think I love one of my favorite parts of that is that whole explanation of what happened kicks off with that freeze frame with them making that stupid face when when Bricktop gets shot. I just think that's one of the coolest reveals, I guess. And then so that's what I had in mind when I picked this. And then just going back to kind of the criteria of rewatchability, which again, I know it's kind of a stretch to call this a heist movie, but
is it a heist movie or is it a crime movie? Because I think there is a difference.
Yeah, I think it's more of a crime movie. It is. It is. I'll admit it's more of a crime movie, and it's kind of a stretch to include it, but I just love it so much. I wanted to. Well,
I think you and I have tried to get it to where we did that movie for this show, and we just haven't. Like the schedules have not aligned to where we could do it.
Yeah, I think this one deserves its own whole episode.
Yeah, I love that movie. It's easily my favorite Guy Ritchie movie. Who I don't know, low key, like Guy Ritchie's probably one of my favorite action directors, especially like the last 20 years. Like he's probably got more hits than misses. Like I remember during the pandemic that Wrath of Man came out. Fucking solid Statham action movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to say that I can't put Snatch on a heist movie list because I kind of put it more in the vein of like, it's like a crime movie, like a Goodfellas-esque type movie.
Yeah.
Not quite Goodfellas, but it's a crime movie. It's like a bunch of criminals in different like crime schemes versus like them trying to. Now, if the heist would have been like more of a central theme of the movie, I could easily see it, but it's very, very minute.
I agree. Hey, listen, I am willing to concede on this as long as we promise to honor it with its own episode in the future sometime.
Dude, all you got to do is say, hey, man, I'm free this weekend. Let's do Snatch. I'm like, sir, you've got yourself a goddamn deal.
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Adam, you good with that, or do you think that maybe we should give it more consideration?
I think you're right. I think it's more of a crime film. I totally see your point, Stephen, and I would argue more for it, but I think it loses out to maybe one of the other movies on our lists.
I'll piss and moan about it, but I'll concede. I'll just stand here with my arms crossed the rest of the time
and frown.
Yeah.
All right. Adam, Inception. I like this. It's a very inspired choice. I'm going to say that I think we should put it in.
Okay.
Because for one thing, I think it's probably the most inventive heist movie because you're not stealing like an actual physical item. You're stealing
information.
Yeah, out of the mind.
Right. Yeah, and it's got that sci-fi element that he puts in a lot of his movies. It's got a great cast, and it's just a fantastic story. And it's one of those movies that if you see it on TV, it's like, oh, Inception's on. I'm gonna, watch this.
It's got a little bit of gets bonus points for me because I'm such a Nolan fanboy. Like usually he's like him and Tarantino are like the two guys right now. We discussed it last week. Like, oh, they've got a movie coming out. I'm going.
Yeah.
But I think it's a very visually stunning film too. Like especially the sequences where like they're kind of like the mind started to kind of kick them out per se. You start seeing shit twist around and.
Mm-hmm.
Also got introduced to a young Tom Hardy, who I think is like the coolest character in that movie.
Yeah.
Because I seen, I was like, who the fuck is this dude? That dude is awesome. And now he's fucking Venom.
Yeah.
I'm willing to put it in because I think as you get more down, like as Nolan makes more movies, you kind of forget about it a little bit. Because I mean, now he's done Oppenheimer, obviously, and he did, the Batman movies obviously are going to be like the foremost things that you think of in his filmography. But Inception was huge when it came out too.
Yeah, and it kind of introduced moviegoers, especially in trailers, to the blah sound effect that Hans Zimmer put in the score. So you get a lot of that in movie trailers now too.
Yeah, no, I remember in Inception. I don't know if you guys, when that movie came out, they released a companion app that went along with it. And the music was a big part of that. Like it would take in sounds from your, if I remember right, take in sounds from your environment and then add in that really cool, some of those, those, I don't know if they were synthesized or not, but yeah, it's just some of those really cool sound effects. And it was a really cool experience walking down the street and then adding that to it. Then you can just,
I did not know that was a thing. I wonder if you can still get it.
Really cool.
I hope so. That's cool. I bet you it's on like Internet Archive or something. I bet you I could find it.
If anybody's going to find it, Adam will find it. Another movie on your list, Adam, too, is The Usual Suspects. I thought this one's a little interesting. It does include a heist. The case that I have against it is the movie really about the heist, or is it about the characters to get to the plot twist at the end?
Yeah, you're right. It is more about the characters to get to the plot twist at the end. And also it makes a really big weirdo a cool guy, and so that kind of makes the case against it negative.
Yeah. Now, I don't want, like, people are going to listen to this like, man, they're really shitting all over some of these movies and really good, but like, I'm not. I'm just, it has to fit the criteria of a heist movie.
I think when they listen to it, Kevin Spacey gets the shit kicked out of him in the other movie, and we're also shitting on Kevin Spacey in this movie. So really, we're just shitting on Kevin Spacey. So
also done by Bryan Singer, also kind of a shit-heel human being too. It's a shame because the movie's fucking amazing.
Yeah. It's just a bummer that they have to be involved in it.
Yeah. Steven, what are your thoughts on The Usual Suspects? Do you think it's a heist movie? Do you think it deserves a stronger...
Oh, I think it's similar to Snatch, right? I think there's a element of heist in it, but it's not the central focus of the movie. So I think if we're going to disqualify Snatch for that, I think that it would make sense here. But yeah, I totally agree. It's a solid movie. But yeah, if we're looking at heist movies, I think that would have to almost go into, like, if we did a one on crime movies, I think that would definitely make it.
Both valid points, but one last question: who is Kaiser Sose? Yeah, we can take that off. I'm good with it.
All right. One on my list, I'm going to throw out there for consideration is Dog Day Afternoon.
Okay.
Now I know this is an older film, so like, if either one of you guys seen it, because if neither one of you have seen it, I'm not going to bother with it because I have no shot if it.
No, don't do that, because it could be that we're just uncultured and we need to watch it. So I would like to hear your case for it.
Steven, have you seen Dog Day Afternoon?
Probably in the 80s, maybe.
Okay. Premise of it is Al Pacino and a ragtag group of guys rob a bank, so Al Pacino can pay for his partner, who's played by John Cazale's sex change operation. And you think it sounds like kind of a wild, like, weird movie, but it's really, really not. it's not so much the heist itself, but it's like, this is Al Pacino in his prime. This is when, like, that run where Al Pacino was arguably the greatest actor working actor in Hollywood at that time. He had The Godfather, Godfather 2, Serpico, this movie. I mean, he was just on a fucking heater. And then I don't think there's an actor that has a stronger 5-film run than John Cazale. But
when this would have been mid-70s when this came
74, I believe.
Okay.
But I may have just talked myself out of it, but it's more the performances that make it so strong. Okay. But the reasoning behind the heist is very interesting, especially for the 1970s. I mean, like, you could probably, it wouldn't be quite as of an out of the box plot point in today's society versus it would have been in the 70s.
Yeah, in the 70s. Yeah, but that was probably pretty shocking for a lot of people.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's a cool premise.
Yeah.
Cool premise.
I think both of you should watch it simply because it's like, you guys are a little younger than I am, so you might remember Pacino more as kind of how he is now, kind of like this maniacal, chews up scenery, but like, at a time, Pacino was like the fucking man. Him and De Niro were neck and neck for, like, no one could fucking touch him as an actor.
Man, he turns it up to, like, I know that people say I'd turn it up to 11. He turns it up to like 13 or 14 in Heat. Like,
well, later on, in an interview, I didn't hear about this till I listened to a podcast about the movie, but his character in Heat is on coke.
Yeah.
So that's why he is the way he is. He's like coked out all the time. So that kind of explains it.
So he's just Scarface.
Not quite. Yeah. Scarface is a cop. But yeah, I may have just taken myself out of that one. But another one I'm going to throw out there is Point Break.
Okay.
Essentially, this is a string of heist. Essentially, what this is a group of surfers. Rob Banks is a gang called the Ex-Presidents, and they wear presidents mask of former presidents to rob banks. Patrick Swayze, Keanu Reeves, Gary Busey, among the cast. You would think if you read that on paper that that's probably a fucking stupid premise. Like, surfers are bank robbers. No way that fucking works. But I think it's Swayze's best performance. Like, I will always remember Patrick Swayze as Bodie in this. And I think this is right before Keanu Reeves does Speed. And this is like the first of his many arguments to being the greatest action star of all time.
See, I think you're arguing for this movie. You said you were going to take this off?
No, I'm putting this up for nomination. Point Break.
Okay. No, yeah. I wholeheartedly agree with you. This should be on the list.
Yeah, you're not going to hear any arguments from me on that.
Okay. All right. Point Break gets in. Actually, I was going to be an idea for an episode. Jen's never seen this, so we were basically going to do a Jen reacts to Point Break episode. I was going to make her watch it, and we're going to come on here and record. I just wanted to get her thoughts on it.
They recently remade that, right? Am I making that up?
Apparently they did. I don't acknowledge it because it's fucking horrible.
Agreed.
I used to be part of this Facebook group that you could the digital copies that came in Blu-rays, people would like trade them, and or they would sell them for like dirt cheap. So like, well, fuck, I don't really have the space for physical media in my house, so like I'll just buy them digitally. I remember that came out. I was like, oh fuck it, I'll pay $3 for this. I'll give it a shot, and I can't remove it from my library.
It's there forever.
I was like, this movie didn't need to be remade. I was willing to give it a shot because sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised by remakes, but no, that remake's fucking a turd.
Oh, actually, now that you're saying that, it makes me want to watch it and see how bad it is.
I hate it. I don't even acknowledge it. All right. I like Adam. Did you mention the Italian Job on your list?
I did.
Okay, is this the Michael Caine version or the Edward Norton Wahlberg version?
Edward Norton Wahlberg version, but only because I saw that one first. We can nominate the original if you would like. I like both of them, but yeah, no, I have a soft spot in my heart for the remake.
Okay. I don't really have a strong case against it. I think it's a very fun movie. I don't think there would be, like, if you think of like all the greatest heist movies of all time, I don't think it would crack like that initial 10, but I can't really argue it. It's a better movie than it should be.
See, the only reason that I put it on there is the Family Feud rule, right? Like, you talk about it to normal people and they're going to be like, oh yeah, the Italian Job's a really good one. I like that one. It's something that's in the forefront of people's minds, even if it's not, the creme de la creme of, Hollywood. It's still a fun movie and people remember it.
Yeah, this actually was almost on my list too. So, and it checked all the boxes for me of, like, the criteria, like a cool team.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have any argument against it.
Introduced America, or it made the Mini Cooper popular in America.
Yeah.
It has a really cool, it used to be called the Italian Job, but it has a really cool roller coaster at Kings Island.
Mm-hmm.
Now the stunt coaster, but had Mini Coopers.
I remember that. Yeah, I thought that was so cool.
All right, we'll put the Italian Job when we whittle down the list to 10. We'll put it in, and we'll see at the end of the day if it makes it in. I put it as the Italian Jab.
Hey, I'm walking here.
I'm walking.
Yeah, and plus, I thought Jason Statham's character in there is really cool. Like, that's how I imagine Jason Statham in real life.
I honestly forgot Jason Statham was in that for the longest time.
Handsome Rob.
Damn it, that's right. Because I had a friend named Rob, and I used to call him that for like the longest time because of that movie. All right. See, hold on. We've got a few more here. Fun with Dick and Jane. Steven, you got your case for it?
Yeah, this is one I added just because it was kind of it was more of like an unusual take on a heist. I really, if we're looking at it, like if we're doing the Family Feud rule, totally agree. No one would even list this.
We may have to change the name of this podcast to the Family Feud rule, because I think, like, essentially, like, most of our categories are like top 10 answers on the board. Like, what would this be?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I really enjoyed. I think it's like a cool, lighthearted spin on the heist genre. And again, I say that really loose. I mean, it kind of is. But I really enjoy. I think it's a really cool take on that, and it resonates with me. It's a family who loses everything, and they're just doing this. Like, that's the motivation behind it. Is the other thing I thought was really cool. Like, it's not about power or trying to get rich. It's more about just trying to have a life as a family. And I just thought that was a really cool take on that genre. Plus, I just thought it was a really funny film, and then a cool, like, commentary on social greed, things like that. Mm-hmm. Also, I feel like that's how Alec Baldwin's character, I can't remember his name, but it's just like, that's how I envision every major CEO. Like, that's not a far departure of the way they behave and the decisions they would make.
I will be perfectly honest. I have never seen the Jim Carrey version of this. I've seen bits and pieces of the old one.
Oh, really?
So that's why I was like, well, at the time when this came out, I think I kind of lost interest in Jim Carrey to an extent.
Okay.
So I'm like, another Jim Carrey movie. It's probably going to be the same Same song and dance he's been putting out for like the last 10 years. So I'm just going to pass. So I don't think I've seen it.
I think you would be pleasantly surprised. It's not a lot of slapstick or, just that kind of classic. I mean, there's a little bit of it, right? I mean, I think you can almost every movie he's in, with a few exceptions I can think of, there's like that, but no, it's not overly Jim Carrey-ish. And I think it's I think it's just a really cool take on kind of that genre.
Mm-hmm. So Adam, you've seen this?
I've seen bits and pieces of it, but no, I haven't seen the thing in the entirety. So,
well, damn,
I can't argue for it or against it. I'm sorry.
Well, then it's on there by default.
Well, I mean, I guess the main question is, like, if someone were to ask you about a heist movie, would this be on? Like, you ask anybody?
Absolutely not. Probably not.
Okay, well, I appreciate your brutal honesty. All right, so we'll leave it off.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Three Kings, I think, does deserve very strong consideration for this. Adam, you've seen Three Kings?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think this deserves very strong consideration. First off, if you guys get a chance, read the behind the scenes making of this, because apparently, like, David O. Russell and Clooney almost came to blows.
Ooh.
I guess apparently David O. Russell is a very unpleasant director to work with at times. I guess he was really berating a lot of the extras on the set, and George Clooney had kind of had enough and basically told him, like, fuck off. And I guess they almost got to a fist fight about it.
Yeah. I didn't know. I'm gonna have to look at that.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting read. And to this day, I think Clooney did an interview recently, and he talked about his unpleasant experience making this movie. I think it's a really cool idea. Basically, it takes place during the Persian Gulf. 3 soldiers. It's Clooney, Wahlberg, and Ice Cube. Well, no, 4 if you can count Spike Jonze's character.
Yeah, Spike. Yeah.
They have a plan to steal. It's been a while since I've seen it, but they're trying to steal. Is it a sheik's gold or is it Saddam Hussein's?
I think it's Kuwaiti gold.
Yeah,
so I think Saddam Hussein has it, but I don't think it was. Yeah, I think it was gold that he had taken.
Yeah, and they decide they're going to try to steal gold so they can have a better life for themselves to get out of the army. And it's kind of a cool commentary on, like, why are we even over here fighting this to begin with?
Yeah.
I think this is the movie where, like, I pinpointed, like, Clooney's my guy. Like, I absolutely adore George Clooney as an actor. I think he's probably one of the coolest dudes around. This is the movie where, like, that's my guy. Well directed. I think the premise is pretty good. You like each member of his team, even Spike Jonze, who I usually find to be very annoying. I've never been a Spike Jonze guy. I do like him in The Wolf of Wall Street, but he's only in there for like 5 minutes.
His short. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
It's very rewatchable. I think Three Kings falls under that category too.
Yeah. It's very rewatchable. Cool team, very cool premise, and it's very well done.
Yeah.
I think
this is one I like, the moral dilemma. They're based, and I got, it's been a while since I watched it, but I remember they end up not even getting the gold, right? Like they chose.
No, I think Wahlberg comes away with some, because they all end up having their happy ending.
Okay.
I think they come away with like a bar or 2 each of it or something like that. It's like I said, it's been a while. I need to really go back and rewatch it. But I think this is one of those movies, like, if you're taking this in a sports context and you're getting ready to vote for, like, guys or gals that go into the Hall of Fame, and you're looking at, like, a particular athlete and you say, like, damn, like, they did this. Like, I didn't know that their numbers look like this at the end. Like, that's a fucking Hall of Fame career. And I just completely didn't even know it. This is Three Kings for me.
Yeah,
it's like you don't think about it, but like if you look at the underlying stats, plus it got I think it got nominated for Best Picture this year. I'm gonna look it up real quick. But yeah, when you look at the pedigree, everything that we all look for in a heist movie, like that definitely fits the criteria.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna look it up, see if it made. Plus, it came out in 1999, which fuck, that's a banger year for movies.
Yeah,
it is. 1999 is the best.
Yeah, arguably one of the 5 in my lifetime. It's probably top 3. Let's see.
Let's say I got a few. I'm seeing it's got a few. Nothing. Didn't think I'd get any Golden Globes or Oscars, but
yeah, it's got a few nominations and awards, but nothing.
It didn't crack the Oscars, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got some Critics' Choice Awards and things like that, but
no. Needless to say, though, like even in the fucking Wikipedia description, it says it's 4 American soldiers on a gold heist.
Yeah.
And
there you go.
And Wikipedia has Gold Heist highlighted as a link that you can click on to look up Gold Heist. So yeah, I think it fits.
Yeah.
So I'm putting it in.
Oh, all right. I got one.
There we go. That Gold Heist link better go to a WikiHow on how to perform a gold heist.
Well, what I learned from
I don't want to get caught doing it.
Ice Cube is that. What I learned from Ice Cube is that you need a Samsonite luggage to carry several gold bars because they're strong enough to hold the weight.
Oh, damn.
There you go.
And see, you learn something. If you decide you want to actually pull that off, make sure you don't buy the Walmart shit for $19.99. You go get the good stuff.
Right.
The stuff that you could also put like money in if your husband's been kidnapped and the drop-off point's Aspen, Colorado. And you find said briefcase and you take it all the way from Providence, Rhode Island to Aspen, Colorado.
I mean, yeah, you need luggage if you don't have a fleet of like 100 dump trucks from New York City. But you know,
I like how we just blended like 2 movies into one. Adam, you got National Treasure. I kind of like this pick too. This has always been one of those movies that if you look at it, I always have a criteria. I think there's a movie, which I think is like, well, movie's always been something that you just kind of shut your mind off and you just kind of watch it for the sheer enjoyment of it. Good way to kill 2 hours and like, you don't regret using that time towards that. And then there's a film, which you kind of like, you appreciate for like the artistic merits of it, the acting, the direction, the sets, the cinematography, the stuff that the Oscars are based off of. National Treasure, I think it's a fucking horrible film. Horrible film.
Yeah.
But goddamn, this is a fucking fun movie.
It is.
Yeah.
I remember when I seen it, I kind of likened it to, I thought I had about 6-month period where I thought this was going to be the successor to Indiana Jones. I thought Nicolas Cage's character was going to be like, this is the new Indiana Jones, and I'm fucking all in.
Yeah. Yeah. I would have been all in too, but they ended up dropping the ball after the second one. So,
yeah.
I mean, they just do 2 films, or did they do more than?
They did a sequel, and then they did a television show for Disney Plus, which has.
And the television show, it has nothing to do with, what's his name? Gates?
Benjamin Franklin Gates.
Yeah, Benjamin Franklin Gates.
And I know they've been trying to get a 3rd one done for years, and they just haven't been able to do it.
Yeah. Nicolas Cage is getting up there too. I feel like, we're in agreement that this should be on the list maybe, but I'm going to argue my case a little bit anyways. It is a Disney movie. But this makes it, kiddo's first heist movie too. Like it's a movie that the family can watch. But there's still like, gunfights in it, and a couple of deaths too. I think one of the guys falls down the shaft at the end and basically dies.
Although
when they get down there though, he's not there. That's always confused me. It's like, why isn't there a body at the bottom?
It's movie magic, my friend.
But yeah, no, fantastic movie, family friendly movie, and you get into the whole. Well, this clue leads to the next clue, needs to the next clue to like take all this gold. And then you got the Declaration of Independence heist, and you have the internet memes. Like for a while there, you had people memeing the crap out of Nick Cage saying, "I'm going to steal it. I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence." So I feel like this one deserves to be on the list.
Steven, you got a case for or against us leaving this off?
No, honestly, I can't think of anything against it. I really enjoyed it. I thought, I mean, as far-fetched as it was, I liked some of the made-up elements pertaining to U.S. history. I think that's really cool. Like the special spectacles that Ben Franklin made that lets you see something one day, in a year or something like that. Like it's just, my God, that's silly. But no, I can't think of any argument against it other than I think this is one of the only Nick Cage movies where he doesn't have a classic Nick Cage freaking meltdown or lose his mind in some way and that kind of stuff. So I wish they had found a way to write that in somehow. But no, other than that, yeah, I can't think of anything against it.
Okay. Well, all right. We'll put it as in right now.
And plus, anytime Sean Bean plays a villain, I enjoy it.
Dude, that's right. Sean Bean is the villain in this. Isn't Voight the second one?
He's in the first one too.
Oh, John Voight is. See, I haven't seen National Treasure in a while.
Yeah. John Voight is Nick Cage's dad, and he's in both of them.
I don't know. Like he's always been weird to me ever since like that fucking scene in Mission Impossible where he's revealed to be alive still, and he basically tells Tom Cruise's character that he knew he was going to fall for his wife because having tasted the goods. And I'm like, oh, dude, that's such a fucking slimy thing to say. Yeah. And ever since then, anytime I see him in fucking anything, that always comes in the back of my head.
I like the memes I see of him and from what is it, Anaconda, when he's staring at yeah.
He plays Slimeball to a T. All right, we've only got a handful left. We have got Inside Man, Hudson Hawk, and Out of Sight. I'm going to go ahead and take Out of Sight off of this. I absolutely adore this movie, but at the end of the day, Out of Sight is more of a movie about a FBI agent and a criminal kind of falling for one another, and they shouldn't be together, and they want to be, but they know they can't. And it's that dynamic, and it's kind of against the backdrop of being a crime movie. So I got to take it off the list for that. But I fantastic.
Which is, if George Clooney were a real life thief, I feel like any female agent going after him, there would be a high probability of that happening anyway.
All right.
In real life.
If I were a fucking FBI agent, like I was chasing George Clooney. Have you seen the man's fucking hair? Jesus Christ.
You're interrogating him like, I'm sorry, I got lost in your eyes. Can we start over?
Palpitating for a minute. You have no business being this fucking handsome. All right, we've got Inside Man and we've got Hudson Hawk. Adam, as much as I love fucking Hudson Hawk, it's one of my favorite bad movies. I can't put it in the fucking Heist movie Hall of Fame.
But I want to hear him argue for it.
Yeah, please present your case.
So
you better Atticus Finch the shit out of this too.
The first, I don't know. I'll say the first hour of this movie is decent. Like, it's a good movie. Like, and they don't jump the shark at all. And you got your cat burglars. You got your cool team. That's one of our criteria. You got your cool team. They do jump the shark in the latter half of the movie with all of the Leonardo da Vinci and turning iron into gold or whatever it is. But see, that's the part of the charm of this movie, and it's what makes it so rewatchable, which is another one of our criteria. Not only do you have the heist at the beginning where they sing wonderful songs together, but you have the heist at the end. So this movie is such a train wreck. You can't look away. Therefore, it needs to train wreck right onto this list.
Cool story, bro. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, it's not a good movie.
No.
Like I said, it's entertains the shit out of me because
I'm trying to think of a nice way to say it. No.
All right, fine. I argued for it at least.
Yeah, you did. My last one is on my list. It's Inside Man. Denzel already gets bonus points for me because it's got Denzel Washington in it. He's the man. But the heist comes early, but I kind of like how it goes from being like a heist movie to like a mystery. And it's got a little bit of a hostage, like the hostage stuff in it, which a lot of times does happen in heist movies where they take hostages so they can get out of said situation. I just think it's incredibly well done. It's Spike Lee. It's like one of Spike Lee's like only takes at like what I would call to be like a typical modern Hollywood movie per se. And he does a really good job because usually Spike Lee is more into doing like very either like smaller contained movies or, stories kind of based out of like, his experiences in New York and the neighborhood, things like that. He takes like more stories that are personal to him. This is more of a grander, like appeals to all audiences type of movie. I just think it's very well done. Peak Clive Owen. I have never understood why Clive Owen never became a bigger star than he is. I mean, he's fucking electric in this. Jodie Foster's really good. Got Chris Plummer. And I know I'm going to butcher his name. I've never been able to get it right. He's Denzel's partner in it. Chiwetel Ejiofor, I believe is his name. And I hate
that's. I was just saying that is actually you're saying it way better than I say it in my own head. So that you're probably.
I'm sure. I apologize. I think you're a fantastic actor. I'm a big fan of your work, and I'm sorry I butchered your name. But it wouldn't be an episode of this show if I hadn't done it. I'm willing to put it in there as it has a case. Have both of you seen Inside Man?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thoughts?
Yeah. I honestly can't think of a case against it.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it does anything special, and it doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it does everything that you would want in a heist movie very, very well.
Yeah.
And I think that considering who done it, it's surprising that like Spike Lee was able to do. I mean, not really surprising. Spike Lee's always been a fantastic director, so I'm not really surprised. But I'm surprised he took on something this broad and knocked it out of the park. So I will put it in, and we will see if it gets knocked out.
Okay.
That work for you, gents?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me go here and see what we've got. I think that's all of our movies. So,
has he done any other Spike Lee? Has he done any other like thrillers like that?
Trying to think. Not on such a grand scale, he hasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't.
Let's see. I guess what was the movie he did a couple of years ago. I'm trying to think. I didn't get a chance to see it yet, but it's one of Chadwick Boseman's last roles. I thought that was kind of a crime movie set inside Vietnam. Oh yeah, it kind of is like, it's more of a buried treasure type movie. The Five Bloods.
Okay.
Still need to see that one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got Ocean's 11 is in. That's a no doubter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Heat is in, a no doubter. The Town, we pretty much decided is in. Ocean's 12 is a strong maybe. Logan Lucky, strong maybe. Inception is in. Point Break is in. The Italian Job was a strong maybe. Three Kings is in. National Treasure is in. And then Inside Man is a maybe.
Okay. How many do we have that are...
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 11, so we need to chop one off.
Okay.
For me, I say get rid of the sequel.
I knew you were going to say that.
The same thing. I was about to say the same thing.
I knew you were going to say that.
And this is nothing against Ocean's 12. I actually think Ocean's 12 gets a lot of unnecessary hate. I think it's a very inventive movie, and I think a lot of people don't, like a lot of directors, when they make sequels, they don't do this. They don't take it in a completely different direction, try to make a completely different movie out of it, which I think was the best way to go with these, because I didn't want to see them rehash the same thing over again.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about it.
And I mean, I think sometimes they get a little too cute with it, especially with like some of the more meta type stuff. But I fucking adore Ocean's 12, and I think to me it's gotten better as it's gotten older. But I think at the end of the day, the Ocean's crew is already in, so they don't need the double. But hey, I'm willing to be talked out of it. That's just my take.
Well, no, Russ, I think within the context of the list we're putting together here, what you're saying makes sense to take off, especially with some of the other ones we have as maybes. Yeah, we already have Ocean's 11. So, like, for example, if it was like between making Ocean's 12 on this list and Logan Lucky doesn't make the list, well, then 100% let's take Ocean's 12 off.
Yeah,
because I think some of the other ones we have as maybe definitely deserve to be on the list.
What are the ones that we have listed as maybe, just to be as thorough as we can be?
Ocean's 12, Logan Lucky, The Italian Job, and Inside Man.
Yeah, I think Ocean's 12 doesn't make the cut with the rest, as much as I wanted on the list.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I love Ocean's 12, but I think it just kind of weird to double dip. And I don't think Ocean's 12 is one of those sequels that, to me anyways, it's not like The Empire Strikes Back or Aliens or Terminator 2 that stand head and shoulders on, with the original or even better than. It's just like, okay, this is a good sequel. I enjoyed hanging out with these guys and gals again, but it's not like.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, so we're going with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So our list, the Couch Brotato Podcast list of the inaugural class of the Heist Movie Hall of Fame is, we have Ocean's 11, Heat, The Town. Ocean's 12 did not make the cut. We have Logan Lucky, Inception, Point Break, The Italian Job, the remake starring Mark Wahlberg. What year was that from? Like 2001?
I think it was 2001 or 2.
Adam, or somebody.
Yeah, I'll grab it.
Okay. Our ace research team. Point Break, the original, not the piece of shit remake. Three Kings, National Treasure, and The Inside Man. That is the inaugural class of the Couch Brotato Podcast Heist movie Hall of Fame. I'm cool with that list. I think that's a pretty good list. I would seriously, I could turn that into a like a weekend film festival, heist movies with that list.
Yeah, that's a good list.
Yeah, totally agree.
2003.
It's 2003. Yeah,
2003. Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, good deal, guys. Last question before we wrap this up. Now, in your research, is there a movie that caught your eye that you haven't seen that you want to see now, or a movie that we talked about that you haven't seen yet that you want to check out now?
Well,
definitely Thief.
Thief?
Yeah, Thief. And yeah, I'm going to see Den of Thieves now.
Yeah,
Dollar Store Heat.
Dude, I'm probably going to go in like a couple minute verbal BJ on Den of Thieves, but they said, I think I told you guys last week when we went off the air, movie starts out, a armored truck gets robbed in front of a convenience store. Next morning, wake up, they got police tape surrounding it. One of the armed guards has a box of donuts he bought from the convenience store. And our hero, if you want to call him that, Big Nick, played by the incomparable Gerard Butler, who I think is probably the last, him and Statham are like the kings of the action movie mountain now. Like, you just put them in an action movie, like, okay, this is going to be at least entertaining. He walks around the police tape and grabs a donut that's part of the crime scene, bites into it, and somebody says, you just ate a donut in the hot zone. It's got 50 Cent in it, and he has a scene in that movie where he scares the shit out of his daughter's prom date. It has a very, very awesomely bad scene in a Benihana's restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Lots of really good, like gunfights and, couple, sequences where they're putting together the heist. It's just a really cool movie. I can't really describe it though, without like really devoting like a good hour to it. Maybe we'll just I tell you what, I said I was going to do a Point Break reaction episode with Jen. How about we reunite sometime within the next month and a half? And I just want to hear your boys' take on Den of Thieves. We'll just do a Den of Thieves episode.
Okay. I'll do it. Yeah.
All right. Good deal. Well, we'll come back. Yeah. We'll do a Den of Thieves episode then. For me, I want to see that Rafifi.
Yeah.
Because when was that made? Like the 50s? It's a French film.
I think so.
But I tell you what, it kept coming up. Like when they would rank them, it would come up in top fives all the time. And I can't believe I'd never heard of it until researching this to say, but now I have to watch it. I have to see if it's any good. But I feel good about this list. I think it's a pretty good class going in. I'm sure that the 9 or 10 people that listen to this episode are going to have some issues with our list, but you know what? Hey, you know how to get a hold of us.
Argue about it in the comments.
Yeah, you know how to get a hold of us. So yeah, let us know what you think belongs in this instead. Or if there's something that we missed out completely, we didn't even name, please let us know. And you can do that by following us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, or whatever it's called now. I call it Twix, Threads, TikTok. Contact us on there. Let us know your thoughts. You can email the show. All of that is in the show notes. If you like what you heard today, please be a friend, tell a friend, and do us a small favor. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. That lets us know that we're doing a good job or we need to improve. So we do appreciate you guys taking the time to do that. So until next week, we will talk to you guys and gals later.